Here's a few tips for what I've learned with lightning lanes so far this morning. If you have an existing dining reservation, Disney will not let you book a lightning lane over your dining reservation, so you don't even have to think about that. Disney added a really great piece of information on the app. When you go to the page where you see the breakdown of the attractions and the times that it is basically suggesting you book, it tells you what time the park opens. That is so helpful because I thought, I don't know if I want a 10 o'clock return time if the park opens at 10, because I'm thinking I'm still, using my rope drop time and still probably on an attraction. So I thought that was super helpful. You can go back in and modify your times after you have already completed the whole process. My lightning lane return time for Tiana's is 9 o'clock in the evening, and I want to try to get that earlier. So I can definitely go back into the app, click modify on that particular lightning lane, and see what else is available if there's anything. This is more of a thought than it is a tip. I thought that when booking the lightning lanes, because we can select the date and the lightning lane time, that we would be able to come to the table with sort of an itinerary of what we wanted for lightning lanes, like Pirates of the Caribbean at 10, and then Winnie the Pooh at 11, and then Tiana's at 1. But the reality is that that's not necessarily what's going to be available. Families who are there, whose lightning lane date was yesterday, they've already booked the duration of their trip. And so some of the lightning lane times are already have already been not taken, but some of them have already been booked. And so when you go in, the times that you want may not be available. It will show you what's first available, and you could look to see if there's anything later. But the reality is that you're going to have to hold your plans loosely and be really flexible and have a plan rather than an itinerary. That's something that I, coach all my families on. So hopefully that helps. Okay, lovies, let's get into some of the questions that you guys had yesterday for lightning lanes. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep these organized by topics so that when I put them in my highlights, they kind of make some sequential sense. So here we go. This is a great question. So when you pre-book your multi-pass lightning lane selections, you are only picking 3. You're picking 1 from tier 1 and 2 from tier 2. Now that's not all you get for the day. So when you actually, let's use Magic Kingdom as an example. So when you actually arrive at Magic Kingdom and you scan into your first booked lightning lane, after you scan in, then you can book another lightning lane, but you can only hold 3 at a time. So basically then when you ride your next one, you'll be able to book another. And then when you ride the next one, then you'll be able to book another. Yes, if you are going to a park that has more than one single pass attraction, then you have the option to purchase both of them. And when you pay for one, you don't get both. You pay for them separately. Yes, when you are booking your lightning lanes and you are 7 days out from arrival, you will get to book it for the duration of your trip up to 14 days. So you're not going to have to log in every morning for every day of the trip that you're going 7 days out. You log in once and you get to get it for the duration of your trip. This is not going to work. This is not going to work out well. And I mean, I could probably do 12 more stories on this, but the reality is if you have 2 families that are going and you're pretty sure you want to do most of the same attractions together, but you want to pay for things separately, it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare. The main reason is lightning lanes go so fast. And if you are both logged in and one of you is a few seconds or even a few minutes behind the other, you may be presented with 2 totally different windows of time because of how fast they're getting booked up. So if you're willing to be flexible and having things paid for separately is that big of a deal, I would say you might have some success, but by far the best option would be to have one person book it all and then just Venmo or pay the other person back. For anyone who doesn't know, a split stay is when you basically stay at 2 different Disney resorts for the duration of your vacation. So you might stay at a moderate resort for a few nights and then move over to maybe a deluxe resort for a few nights. So technically it's 2 separate reservations. So this question is about, hey, since I have 2 separate reservations, am I going to have 2 different days where I book for my trip, but you don't. As long as you do not have a lapse in time between your first reservation and your second, when you book your lightning lanes for your first one, the system is smart enough that it will actually let you book for the duration of both of your stays. If I remember right, I think this question is from my girl Naomi in the UK. Hi, sweet friend. Okay, so for Tiana's, as it stands right now, you can do the multi-pass and you can do the virtual queue, and that's my plan for when I go next week. I was able to book Tiana's I got on right on time, and I got a 9 p.m. for it. So they go very, very fast. I'm also planning on trying to get a virtual queue when I'm there. You could try to get the virtual queue the day of at 7 a.m. If you don't get it, then you can try again at 1. This is a great strategic question. So basically what this question is saying is, if you are booking something where you have multiple days that you can book at a time, there is a strategy, which I'm a big fan of, that says people that are on vacation before you get to book into your vacation, and whether that's dining or lightning lanes or whatever, they get to book into your vacation. And so the theory is that if you start booking what you want at the end of your vacation, you've had fewer people that can book into those days because they're probably leaving, and that might be leaving more availability for you. So the strategy is to plan backwards. Look at the last day that you're going to go to the park and book your lightning lanes or your dining, then go to the next day back and the next day back. I think it's a great strategy, and I think it's going to work really well for lightning. There is no regular standby lane for Guardian, so your two options are going to be to purchase the lightning lane for it or to grab the virtual queue for it. If you're lucky and you want to ride it twice, you might be able to get both. This was actually my very first question about the changes with lightning lanes, and it's still something that we do not have a definitive answer on. I have been scouring their Instagram and their website and cannot find any information about them not offering a standby skipper. So I think as it stands, standby skipper will continue. How much use it's going to get, I'm not sure, because before, standby skipper is a third-party app that essentially books your lightning lanes for you. You just give it some criteria and it goes into the system and books them all for you. Now that you can pre-book and you can now only re-book one at a time, the need for the software is, I think, much lower. That said, it will still reduce the amount of time that you're going to spend on your phone. I just don't know if people are going to be willing to pay for it, and if they can survive that. That's just my personal thought. Okay, I love this. I love this overlap that Disney is letting me do. Let me explain it real quick. So when you book a lightning lane, usually Disney will let you do an overlap in your lightning lanes, meaning you get an hour to show up for your lightning lane, and they'll let you overlap two different ones because they know that it's not going to take an entire hour to get through the line and ride the attraction. And so you can kind of squeeze more in your day that way. But I'm really fascinated by this because I went to modify one of my lightning lanes this morning, and it's letting me overlap with like a 45-minute overlap, meaning there's only a 15-minute difference between the two times. And I love this because it means we're going to be able to get more done in a day because Disney is allowing for overlap. But it's also a little scary because if you don't know where things are in the park and you have an overlap like that, you could be barely making it.